glad there are big, strong men around.
Looks fine. Right. You need something, let me know.
I've heard rumors of abandoned warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look, see if there's anything we can salvage.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own, like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The Blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
You need... Another time, then. You need some... Another time, then. another time.
There was no word for heaven or for earth or sea or sky. All that existed was silence. Then the voice of the Maker rang out. The first word.
So,
And his word
that
became
Tevinter guy sent you into the future?
I've got no problem with normal magic, but Tevinter goes beyond all reason.
I know, right? The Vints are always pushing. Anyway, I hope our new friends have what it takes to close the breach. Damn thing gives me a headache just looking at it.
Nice work at Redcliffe. I could help the mages learn to work with Inquisition soldiers if you like. Not that the chief has any apostates in the group.
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
What would you like to know?
Is it strange to work for Kunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. Bull's chargers don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasroth, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
We'll talk later.
Magic exists to serve man and never to foul and corrupt.
And what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We've been split up, regardless of our colleges, forced into quarters so small that...
This is not the Circle. You have been conscripted into the Inquisition, like any soldier.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it. It never ends, evidently.
You don't need to tell me that.
I just don't know who told them I'm the one to yell at.
Is it that bad?
The mages are too accustomed to running or being kept prisoner. It's not easy for them. It's your doing, after all. You're the one who conscripted them.
I had to think on my feet, and I did what I could.
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I? I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
You're flattering me.
I'm not. This always happens. Nobody ever takes my meaning.
You should see your face.
I'm thinking less flattering things now. Let's hope the breach has your sense of humor.
The mages are ready to approach the breach. I pray this will be enough to close it.
I know you're worried about having the mages here. Give them a chance to prove themselves.
I'm not questioning their ability or their intentions, but we cannot ignore the risks. The mages submitted to our authority. Their safety and our followers is my responsibility. I recommend caution, that's all.
I should get to know you better. We're working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
I grew up in Ferelden, near... was transferred to Kirk shortly after the Blight. This is the first I've returned in almost 10 years.
I haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return. Now, between the Divine's murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
I'll let you return to your work.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
And you've heard nothing of this Elder One before, in any of your investigations?
Nothing. I'm sorry.
No, it's taken all of us by surprise. We must... I don't know. He compromised the rebel mages, and is likely responsible for the disappearance of the Templars.
And we know nothing about him.
We will soon enough.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium in Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
I'd like to keep hoping it's a coincidence, if you don't mind. I need to be able to sleep at night.
Honestly, I think I'll give up sleeping for the foreseeable future. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
That's a good point. We should celebrate. A banquet. Something like a banquet.
Word to Josephine, and I bet she could arrange anything. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
You see that new elf who joined up?
Sarah? She's a feisty one. I didn't mean anything by it. It's good to see us all coming together to serve the Maker.
Never thought the Inquisition would cross that.
I don't know.
Well, that's mages all over. So many robes, I bet all of Ferelden lost their curtains. I'll just be the other side of Haven, just in case.
Do you have a problem with our new allies? With mages?
No problem with mages. You're fine, right? My problem is magic. If mages sat on their hands, everything would be fine. You know it too, that's why you're shoving them up towers after. That's good, right?
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Again with your people. Right, which ones?
What about Dorian?
He's fun. Could lose a bit more to Vinter.
What's your opinion of Vivienne?
She's a bitch, but she knows. She better.
What's an iron bull?
It makes me wonder about things. I mean, what do women look like? Woof.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here.
Magic exists and never to him. Foul and corrupt are they.
So we have gained the mages. Excellent. They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel. Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
Dorian was sure, impossible as it seems.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witnessed.
I'm surprised you're not more interested in your own future.
I know enough. If that future happened, then I, and Cassandra, Cullen and the rest, failed to stop this Elder One. Speaking of which, you should ready yourself.
For?
This Elder One. I've now interfered with his plans twice. Once in the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront.
Put a leash on the rebel mages, Interesting how they seem to like the idea. As if it's a relief to be penned in again.
I take it you don't agree?
Not my place to disagree, is it? It just seems like repeating history. It all depends on what you do with these mages later. No guarantee you'll throw them back into circles again. I mean, unless you're as thick as you say, which would be sad, really.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
Some more than others.
Some people have superior taste. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Canary can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care deeply about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
What do you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
Flister said to check with you to make sure these are safe to serve.
They're fine. Nobody will take sick as long as she boils them right. Smart woman for asking, though. Right.
Wherever darkness comes upon me, I shall embrace the light. I shall weather the storm. I shall
Mages. Lovely.
They should have this breach sealed soon enough.
I suppose their gold's spent as well as anyone else's.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
I'll leave you to your work.
Thanks for checking anyway. Maker watch over you.
all made of the work of our Maker's hands.
So Fiona and her malcontents are finally under proper authority. That's an excellent beginning, my dear. We will have to discuss how to administrate this new asset. Cullen doesn't have enough Templars to handle incidents. Some of the rank and file need to be trained.
The last thing we need are abominations running amok.
I knew you would have a proper grasp of the situation. I'll have a word with Cullen. We are reliant on his people, absolutely. There has never been a greater threat to mages than the breach. Until it is closed, no one is safe.
You have a low opinion of your fellow mages?
It's not a matter of opinion, my dear. I have a close relationship with reality. Many of our colleagues do not. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned.
You're preaching to the choir, Vivian.
Tell me something. You told me that you'd see the Chantry restored. What about the Circle?
Mages shouldn't be kept out of the Chantry. The dangers of magic better than a mage.
A curious idea. Which twists and turns your mind takes. It's something to consider, my dear.
The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin. And my miners appreciate your business. You'll have your lyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about our arrangement. The Inquisition must certainly seem an audacious idea to the Grand Clerics. We hope to convince them it is a necessary one as well.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray the Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
We will try.
In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry, or its own namesake.
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning to the lives they fled. Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is ending.
Farewell, revered mother.
Make her go with you.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who was she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corbin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating his power instead of comforting the masses.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevara, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
So if everyone listens to the chant, things will be smooth as silk.
I did say commonality is merely a beginning, but it's an important one. We must learn to think beyond our own wants to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Elysian politics, Lady Montillier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
I tell the Chantry that Andraste herself shielded me from harm.
I'd truly like to hear the debates that would raise in Val Royeaux. Thank you for your thoughts. A good day to you.
Thank you.
At your service.
To work?
Let's see what we have.
Damn it, Ritz, where are you?
I found Ritz and rescued her from an attack by the Templars. She's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. It's dangerous out here for everyone. I'm glad he's trying to put things right. Thank you again for rescuing Ritz.
A cave! Hooray!
More supplies. Whittle can use these.
Rude, do you think you could stay with the miller and his wife if I had to leave?
What nonsense are you going on about? Where do you think you're going, Father?
We're low on food and coin. I may have to bring out the old sword, do some work to feed us.
travel safely.
The Maker didn't close the rifts. The Inquisition
The
did.
rebellion has Are you questioning what the mages have been brought into the You must remain strong.
No. We must do more to help. Lady Velena should be. That's what the Maker would want. We need to be together when the Maker comes.
I found a woman's body down the hill with a letter on it.
This letter... Velena is dead. But we were meant to be together. The Maker would not keep us apart. What am I supposed to do now?
The Inquisition needs men who believe as strongly as you do. Come and help us restore order.
Yes. If waiting here in the hills leaves innocents to die, then I will bring the Maker's word by the sword. My men and I will lend our strength to the Inquisition. Thank you.
Will you leave us? I know you care little for Speaker Anne and the words of the Maker.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Root of Andraste.
Your will be done.
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you again.